We have now made it into the month of May, or at least we're about to, here in Season 5 of the San Francisco Giants franchise here on MLB The Show 24. And much like last year, the month of April was a very successful one for us as we sit at a record of 21-7, coming off a 4-game sweep in LA against the Dodgers. Talk about making a statement at the end of the month, but it was not without casualty. Kyle Harrison, broken arm. He will be put on the 60-day IL, and this is really unfortunate because through 6 starts, he's been terrific this year, having let up just 8 earned runs. But durability seems to be becoming an issue with him. He missed 11 starts last year. He missed a lot of time back in Season 2. And we've got a few options in terms of who could replace him. I've thought about potentially having Fernando Molina being used as a starter. We could go with the veteran Cole Irvin, who's had a nice season in AAA. But I have a better idea. I think it's time that we roll with Scott Rios. The former 4th-round pick has been one of the top prospects in baseball over the last 3 years, ever since we drafted him. And with a hot start to the minor league season with an ERA at 1.62 and a whip barely above 1 in just over 33 innings, I think it's time that we give him his shot in the big leagues. He played a little bit in spring training this year. He wasn't particularly good. But if things go south, we've already used his minor league option this year, so we can always send him down. Along with Rios, I'm excited to see more Carson Whisenhunt. He's been terrific this year. Mason Miller's been playing well too. Both of them have been better than Logan Webb and Sandy Alcantara, ironically. While the bullpen has been quite strong as well, it's really those 2 veteran starters, Webb and Alcantara, who have been inconsistent. As for the offense, I think we're hitting the ball pretty well. The big story, of course, being the production from third baseman Munetaka Murakami, who really struggled early last year. His average was below 200 up until the All-Star break, where he was able to pick it up a little bit. But this year, his start has been the total opposite. 9 home runs, hitting .356, well on his way to winning the April Player of the Month in the National League. OPS at 1147. His slugging is nearly equal to his OPS last year, and his WAR on the season is already above 2, which leads all National League position players, and he is currently the front runner for NL MVP, and as I said, likely to win the Player of the Month. He has been terrific this year. A few other guys have been playing really well. John Huli's doing his thing. Ian Happ is as well. So obviously, we're going to play Scott Rios' debut. We're going to simulate through this series against the Nationals. We end up taking 2 of 3. Not too bad. 23-8 officially going into the month of May. We're going to simulate through this game against the Brewers, and we win 7-3. Carson Whisenhunt coming back down to earth a little bit in this matchup, letting 2 early runs across in the first inning. But afterwards, shut the door the rest of the way with 6 scoreless. And this is looking less and less like a facade and more like, we might have something here with Whisenhunt. Now, if you remember last year, he did start off really well and then tailed off after his first 6 or 7 starts, but he wasn't this good. We currently have the best record in the NL, 2nd best overall, but with no Kyle Harrison likely through the month of June into July, we're going to need Scott Rios and the rest of this rotation to step up. As I've said really since the end of last year, I think Harrison has become this team's most consistent and honestly best starting pitcher. So here comes Scott Rios, currently the 2nd-ranked prospect in all of baseball. Since we drafted him, he's been pretty much anywhere in the top 5, and his development through the minor league system has been very linear through AA, switching between AA and AAA over the last couple of years, and then this year, through his first 5 starts in AAA Richmond, he has been absolutely terrific, averaging nearly 7 innings per start, where he has been a rock star. As we take a look at both lineups 1 through 9, and we look at Rios, a 21-year-old 5'10 lefty from Mexico, making his big league debut. The man who we hope will be the long-term ace of our staff. We'll start things off with Jose Caballero, his first career at bat, and it ends up being a pretty successful one. Forces a fly out into left as it is caught by Johnny Hackman. And we'll go through every at-bat, at least in this first inning, to watch Rios in action as Oswald Peraza lines it into right field. That goes for a base hit. And so Scott Rios lets up his first career big league base runner, not all sunshine and rainbows for the new kid on the block, as he faces off against Ryan Mountcastle, the big slugging first baseman, and he goes down on the sinker. Career strikeout number 1 for Rios, who isn't necessarily a strikeout power pitcher type, but he wins in a lot of other ways as he now faces off against Dalton Varsho, having a rough season offensively, puts it on the ground. Garrett scoops it up, tags the base, and overall a pretty good first big league inning for Scott Rios. 1 hit allowed, 1 strikeout, 1 runner left stranded, and nobody scores. He looked the part in that inning, and that's really all you can ask for in his first big league frame as we take a look at the lefty Patrick Sandoval, who's having a really nice season for the Brewers. 2.92 ERA, 1.27 whip. With 2 away, he'll face off against Stone Garrett, who's also having a nice season of his own. Full count, got him looking. He thought that pitch was going to be high, but it tails down at the end. Sandoval gets him looking, retires the side, and that brings us into the second. The former Giant, Thairo Estrada, chases the high heat. Rough at bat. It's been a rough season for Estrada. He's hitting below 150 with his OPS in the mid-400s. His WAR amongst the worst in the National League, despite the fact that he plays Gold Glove level defense. Brock Wilken goes down on strikes as well. 3 punch-outs through 2 innings for Scott Rios as he retires the side, and that'll bring us into the bottom of the second. Munetaka Murakami, the red-hot bat, National League's Player of the Month in April. Swinging a miss on the sinker, and the lefty-on-lefty matchup is won by the former LA Angel, Patrick Sandoval. With 1 away, that'll bring up Ian Happ. He is now hitting .347 as this one is sent a mile a minute off the wall in left center field, and Happ is aboard at second with a double. Last year, I felt like he was our most consistent hitter. This year, he has been even better, as that'll bring up the catcher Patrick Bailey getting the start with the lefty Sandoval on the mound. And this one is ripped up the middle for a base hit. Happ will look to score. The throw from Dominguez. Oh, this is going to be close, and he is safe. A bullet in center field from Jason Dominguez. But Happ is safe, and it's a 1-0 San Francisco lead. Johnny Hackman up now here for the Giants. Started the year off slow. Been playing a lot better as of recent. He draws a walk. And so now there's 2 aboard. 1 away for J.P. Crawford, who also had kind of a slow month of April, hoping he picks it up here in May. Coming off his great playoff run last year, but he goes down on the slider. Again, the lefty-on-lefty matchup won by Sandoval. Liover Peguero getting the start today, another guy who hits lefties well. As this one is flown into the outfield, Dominguez is under it. He'll make the play, but the Giants on the board first with an RBI single by Patrick Bailey, as it's 2-0, and that'll bring us into the third. Joey Weimer hitting nearly .400 this year, a guy who we floated about a possible trade a couple years ago. Ultimately, it didn't happen, and, well, maybe we should have. He's balling as he hits a single, and that will push his average above .400 on the season. Obviously, he's not starting every day. That's with limited platoon at bats, but still really impressive. As Adrian Shugasty goes down on strikes, he's playing in his second career game. The rookie catcher looking for career hit number 1. As Jose Caballero strikes out, and now it's a 3-1 here for Oswald Peraza. Base hit his last time up. That probably would have gone for ball 4, but it's a swing and a miss, and the count is full. Rios looking for a trio of strikeouts here in the third. Runner goes on the ground. Happ scoops it up. That works too. Throw to first is in time. What a start for Scott Rios. Through 3 innings, he's let up 2 hits, no walks, has struck out 5. That's the biggest thing. Again, he's not a strikeout guy, but everyone on the Brewers is whiffing. Most importantly, though, no runs allowed. He's got a shutout going as we go bottom 3. Tommy Rogers singles in to left. I feel like Tommy's given us some good things this year. He hasn't necessarily taken that third-year leap to stardom that I was hoping for, but he has been highly productive for the most part, as that'll bring up Stone Garrett. Rogers goes for second, and he is safe pretty easily. With Tommy's speed, he needs to be stealing the bases more. I feel like that can become a real advantage for his game, given how fast he is. Now Murakami's up. He's ahead 3-1, and he draws a walk. I understand other pitchers being a little bit cautious in terms of throwing to him, given how well he has hit the ball. But another guy who's hit really well is Ian Happ. This one is hit high and deep into center. Dominguez is under it. He will make the play, and Sandoval gets out of the jam, letting up a pair, but neither of them will score, as it's 1-0 going into the fourth, and we'll see if Scott Rios can continue his impressive debut. As Mountcastle lines this one into left, 115 off the bat, and it goes for a leadoff single, and so the Brew Crew give themselves a runner for the middle of the order. Dalton Varsho puts it on the ground. This should be 2. Garrett, Peguero to Rios. Double play. 3-6-1. And Scott Rios is continuing to pass the test with flying colors. Bottom 4, Pat Bailey leads things off, the only source of runs so far today for either team, as he checks his swing. Pitch was in the strike zone anyway. 2 gone now for J.P. Crawford. This one is lined into left center. That'll go for a base hit. And so San Francisco gets a runner on here with 2 away, trying to add to this lead, because even though Scott Rios looks super good, he's a 21-year-old in his debut. You never know if things fall apart. Peguero grounds it to short, flipped over to second, and unfortunately we don't get anything there as it remains 1-0, and that will bring us into the 5th. We'll see if Scott Rios can continue his impressive debut. I don't want to have Rios out there too long. I don't want to overwhelm him, but with how well he's pitching, obviously we're going to keep him in a little while longer as Estrada strikes out on the fastball. But on the play, Scott Rios hurt his elbow, and he's going to have to come out of the game. So a very, very depressing ending to what was otherwise a terrific debut for Scott Rios. He finishes with 4 1/3 scoreless innings and will be replaced by Yariel Rodriguez. And we'll check on Rios' status after the game. It would suck if he's out for a while because he could have really built some momentum off of this terrific debut. Wilkins strikes out and Rodriguez gets through the rest of the frame as we go bottom 5. A surprise pitching change for the Brewers. I feel like Sandoval was pitching quite well. He'll be replaced by Luis Gil, the long reliever. 3.62 ERA. They're going to bring a righty in, which I don't think bodes overly well for Tommy Rogers, but Tommy has other plans. This one is hit high and deep in the center. At the track, it's caught. I thought it had enough carry to nearly make it over the fence, but unfortunately not quite, just a little bit shy. That'll bring us into the 6th. Not a lot of action in this game. It has been a pitching duel, even with both teams now to the bullpen. Both pitching staffs are continuing to do well. A 1-2-3 inning for Yariel Rodriguez. And you got to give Rodriguez a lot of credit because he wasn't even warming up when Scott Rios got hurt, but he retires 5 consecutive batters basically on very, very short notice. Munetaka Murakami strikes out on the slider. He's had a quiet evening. That'll bring up Patrick Bailey, even with the righty on the mound. We're going to stick with Bailey at least for this at-bat. And he flies it into left field. So maybe the decision to take Sandoval out wasn't so bad because Luis Gil is producing. Still 1-0 in a game where offense has been virtually non-existent. John Schreiber out of the pen for the Giants here in the 7th. Didn't pitch a ton in the month of April, but when he did, he was very effective. 6 2/3 scoreless. As Mountcastle puts it on the ground. Diving play. Garrett flips it over to Schreiber for the first out of the inning. Stone Garrett showing off the leather. 2 away. Dominguez lines it to short, and Liover Peguero will make the play. Still 1-0 as we go bottom 7. Can either team have a big run and try to take a comfortable lead for the back end of their bullpen to finish off? Johnny Hackman thought that pitch was going to be low, but it stays in the strike zone. Called strike 3. That'll bring up Brendan Donovan. He comes in off the bench as a pinch hitter for Liover Peguero, looking to light a spark for the offense, and he does. Singles it up the middle into center. Donovan had a rough first few weeks, but over the last 2 or 3 weeks, he has been really, really strong. As that will bring up Tommy Rogers, nearly homered in his last at-bat, as he looks to potentially get this one out of the park, but it doesn't have the carry. It'll be caught in right field, and it remains 1-0 as that'll bring us into the 8th. Back end of the bullpen looks to finish off the job here for San Francisco. We'll start with JoJo Romero, who has really been the head of the dragon for this bullpen this year. 12 1/3 scoreless innings for Romero. He had a long scoreless inning streak to start last year, and he's looking to one-up it this year as Thairo Estrada strikes out. 0 for 3, 3 Ks for Estrada. It has been a rough season for him at the plate. Brock Wilken goes down on the circle change. Nice pitch there by Romero for the second out. We'll see if he can strike out the side with Joey Weimer. Doesn't look like he will, but it is grounded over to short. Donovan, backhander, throw to first is in time. And the bullpen has not let up a base runner since the injury to Scott Rios. Very impressive. Gritty Tigers legend Tyler Holton out of the pen for the Brewers here in the bottom of the 8th. Do you guys know that Tyler Holton in real life got an MVP vote this year? Well deserved. As Jun-Hoo Lee hits it up the middle into center field for a leadoff single. Maybe this can be where the Giants add some runs before bringing in the closer Camilo Doval for the 9th, and we might need him, considering Doval's been kind of shaky for his standards this year. Stone Garrett draws a walk. Here we go. 2 runners to start the inning, and a great opportunity for the middle of the order with Murakami and Happ. Murakami wouldn't end up doing anything. Happ is ahead, though, 3-1, and he draws a walk himself. So the bases are loaded. Surely this will not end poorly for us. We're going to keep Patrick Bailey in the game, with Holton being a lefty. As the count is 2-2. Bailey, very high clutch rating, but he goes down looking on the fastball for the second out of the frame, and now it's Johnny Hackman's time to shine. Count is even, 2-2. Bases loaded, 2 away. Swing and a miss on the cutter, and the Giants leave him loaded. Wow, can't say I saw that one coming. Good job by Tyler Holton to get out of the jam, and that'll bring us into the ninth. Camilo Duvall looks to finish this one off. Now again, Duvall hasn't been lights out this year. He's been good, but I wouldn't say he's been great, especially considering many of our other relievers like Schreiber and Romero haven't even let up runs so far this year. But in save opportunities, he is a very efficient 12-13. So again, he's having another all-star-esque season, but at least right now, not a reliever of the year type campaign, as Shugasty goes down on the very low slider. Game comes down to Oswald Peraza, puts it on the ground to short. Donovan fields it cleanly. Throw to first is in time, and that'll do it. 1-0, a pitching duel. An RBI single in the bottom of the second for Patrick Bailey is the only source of runs the entire way. The big story of this game, of course, is Scott Rios having a terrific debut, 4 1/3 scoreless innings that got cut off quickly due to an injury. We definitely did a better job than they did of getting runners on base with 6 hits and 4 walks, whereas they only had 3 base runners the entire game. The bullpen over the final 4 2/3 innings did not allow a single base runner. Very impressive. So Scott Rios suffered some tightness in his elbow. It led to a sprain. Thankfully not a long-term injury. He might not even end up missing his next start. So a huge sigh of relief for us. Scott Rios is going to recover over the next few days, and hopefully he'll be able to make his scheduled start against the Reds. So we're going to simulate a little bit slowly here. I want to wrap up the series against Milwaukee, then go through a 6-game road stand against Colorado and Cincinnati. So we'll start with this final game against the Brewers. Very competitive game. We're up by 1. Top 8, 2 on, 2 away. And Thairo Estrada's up, which given how he's hit this year, yeah, that was a death sentence for Milwaukee. I don't know why they didn't bring in a pinch hitter there. And that ends up being the difference. A boneheaded decision by the Brewers as the Giants win this game and sweep Milwaukee by the final score of 6-5. The former Brewer, Joel Payamps, gets the win. Stone Garrett wins the player of the game. Both teams certainly hit the ball better. The Brewers went from 3 hits to 13, and we hit it better too, coming down with 11. Logan Webb did not have a great start. His ERA now in the 5s. He really just is not playing very well this year. Dislocated ankle for catcher Vicente Alegre, and he is done for the year. One of our better catching prospects, Alegre, was our international free agent signing back in Season 1. His development has been a lot slower than expected, in my opinion, and here's another bump in the road for him. He was having a rough year in Double-A to begin with, and now this makes things all the more worse. Let's now look at this set against Colorado. Top of the 8th. Rogers is on third with 2 outs. It's been a rough day for the offense as we trail 2-0. Luis Medina is pitching a shutout right now for the Rockies as he faces off against Ian Happ, looking to make a play here, but Happ, like everybody else, hasn't been too good, 0 for 3. Count is 1-1 for Happ, gets a hanging pitch that he likes, flies it into center, but it is caught, and that ends up being the difference. The Rockies win this game 2-0 with 8 scoreless frames for Luis Medina. Mason Miller pitched a pretty good game of his own. He led up 2 runs in the first inning, which came off of an RBI single for Yanquiel Fernandez, but those were the only runs of the game. Rockies win it, and now this brings us into the rubber match. We won the first game against Colorado. We just lost the second. But here we are in Game 3, up by 1, runner on second, as Andrew Monasterio looks to bring him in, and he will, into the gap, going for extras. It'll be a double. Camilo Duvall blows his second save of the year. He's actually going to round second, heads for third. Excuse me, that's a triple! And the Rockies have the winning run 90 feet away from home with just 1 out. Monasterio's had a really, really strong season for the Rockies. As that brings up Benny Montgomery, we will intentionally walk him. With the winning run on third, there's really no reason to care about this runner. So because of that, we're going to set up a force out for Nolan Jones. He grounds it to third. This could be the double play. 5, 4, 3. No, he's safe! And the Rockies walk it off! A close call there. We almost were able to execute the double play, but the throw to first was just not in time. Monasterio, the winning run. That trade with Milwaukee, I think back in the Season 2 trade deadline, is really the definition of a win-win. The Rockies got themselves a pretty good player, and the Brewers got Brendan Rodgers, who was only there for a couple of months, but he won the World Series MVP in that time frame. 6 innings, 3 earned runs allowed by Carson Whisenhunt. Probably his worst start of the year, which, I mean, that's not even that bad of a start to begin with. We're going to get offered a trade here from the Blue Jays. Brad McKinnon for Edwin Arroyo, 2 pretty good prospects. Arroyo's been up and down so far in the minors, but he did have a really good spring training. I think we're going to hold on to him. That'll bring us to this series against the Reds. We lead 4-3. We scored 4 in the 7th, but they have added 3 in the 8th. We are in danger of blowing this game as Jojo Romero faces off against Matt Chapman. 2-2 pitch. Checked his swing. Umpire says he went around. We would add some insurance in the 9th to help our win, taking it 6-3 with an RBI double for Hackman and another RBI double by J.P. Crawford. Scott Rios, in his second big league start, ended up playing really just as well as he did in his first. A terrific outing. He had 7 scoreless innings. We decided to keep him in for the 8th, and, well, he started to fall apart a little bit there, let up a run. We went to the bullpen, and they almost blew it. But through 2 starts, Scott Rios has thrown 11 1/3 innings, and he has only let up 1 run, and he's striking out guys at a really high rate, so far with 13 Ks in that span. Kyler Rodriguez is going to be taken off the 60-day injured list. That's exciting. He got hurt in spring training, and now he's about to be healthy. Luis Toribio will go down to AAA for the roster spot. Toribio hasn't been too bad in a very, very limited sample size, but we really only had him here because of the Kyler Rodriguez injury, so he'll go down to the minor leagues where he's been platooning for really the last 5 years. As we end up sweeping the Reds, they're unable to get revenge from the playoff series last year where, again, we swept them. 3-0 win in this last matchup. On the mound in this game for us was Sandy Alcantara against his former team, complete game shutout. Blake Sabol played really well, big game from Tommy Rogers, and that brings us to a pivotal 6-game stretch at home against the Padres and the Dodgers. Early in this season, we've already played against both of these teams, so I'm going to simulate through this set, and I'm really curious to see how we end up doing. We're at home. We are the better team of this group, at least so far. So I'd like to think we can win 3 or 4 games total, as Kyler Rodriguez is back healthy, and he will return to the lineup here in this matchup against San Diego. Blake Sabol is having a big afternoon, triple shy of the cycle, so we'll see if he can ultimately do it here with a runner on second base and a chance to bring in a run. Against Emmett Sheehan, first pitch, over the glove of the second baseman. That's only going to go for a single, but still a good at bat. He's now 4 for 4, brings in a run, and that'll make it a 4-1 ball game, and ultimately we would end up getting the win 5-1. But we lost the first 2 games of this series, so we avoid the sweep, but San Diego still gets the better of us, which is unfortunate. There's a lot to take in with this game, some good and some very bad, possibly. We'll start with the good. Blake Sabol was terrific, 4 for 4. Scott Rios on the mound, 6 2/3 innings, let up just 2 hits and 1 run. That's 3 starts now. He's been terrific at all 3. Tommy Rogers, 2 for 2, 2 walks. Love to see the plate discipline from him. The bad news, though, Kyler Rodriguez took 1 at bat, and he was replaced. So that tells me only one thing. He got hurt. Dislocated shoulder, and after just 1 at bat, he will go back to the injured list. Unfortunate. Rodriguez's durability, we knew it was an issue when we drafted him. He's been able to stay healthy so far in the big leagues, but how the injuries are catching up to him quickly. We're not going to bring back Luis Toribio. Instead, it'll be Zach DeZenzo. I think he's been pretty solid in AAA, but certainly unfortunate for Kyler Rodriguez in his first game back to go right back to the injured list. Munetaka Murakami has 2 home runs in this game. We're looking for a third here in the first matchup against the Dodgers. And I would like to take your attention to the scoreboard. We are up 14-0. Christ! After sweeping the Dodgers earlier this year, well, this is certainly another statement as he gets hit, still swung. Wanted to be a little aggressive there. Mookie Betts with an RBI double cuts the lead all the way down to 13. But unfortunately for them, the start of the rally is not enough because, well, they needed 13 more runs. What a day for the offense. And it was Shohei Ohtani who got the start. We had 6 guys with multiple hits. Murakami had 3, including, of course, the 2 home runs, drove in 4. Donovan, Lee, Garrett, and Rogers bringing home multiple runs. And then Logan Webb with a complete game. Good to see him pitching well in what's been a disappointing season. The offense is not done, though, in Game 2. We are up 9-2, and Tommy Rogers has a 12-game hitting streak on the line. Tommy is off to a phenomenal start here in the month of May. Maybe he is taking that superstar leap as this one bloops and drops for a hit. Rounds first, heads to second. He is safe. A 62-mile-an-hour exit velo double. We'll take those. The milestones are going to keep on coming, though, because Johnny Hackman is a triple shy of the cycle. Even with the 2 runners in scoring position in the last inning, we were unable to score either of them, but it's still a 7-run lead. We're still in a good spot. Facing off against Jonathan Hernandez. First pitch of the AB. Hackman down the line and fair. This one's going to roll all the way to the wall. Does it have a chance for 3? I don't think so. He will slide safely into second with a double, his 4th hit of the game. But no cycle, unfortunately. Have no fear, though, because he would get another opportunity later in the inning. Blake Sabol hit a grand slam. Zach DeZenzo would bring in another run. And it is 14-2. Through the first 2 games of this series against the Dodgers, we have scored 14 in both of them. Hackman is the one who started the inning, and he's the one who ends it. Pops it up over to second base. It is caught. But what a start to this 3-game set for San Francisco. We have outscored the Dodgers 28-3. Don't tell a Falcons fan. So in 6 games against the Dodgers this year, we are 6-0. Is that good? I think that's pretty good. For this Dodgers team supposedly being a super team with all their great players and the addition of Adley Rutschman in the offseason, you would think that they wouldn't lose by 25 in a 2-game span. 4 hits for Hackman, 4 for Happ. Blake Sabol had 3 hits and drove in 7. John Hooley and J.P. Crawford also bring home multiple runs, and Sandy Alcantara had a good start. He had a quiet April, but is off to a great start in May. His ERA now below 3. Another hitting streak on the line for Tommy Rogers in this last matchup, and the game's actually close for once, tied at 5. Against Phil Maton, hits it well into center. So, of course, in the last game, he hits a blooper for a double. That time, 104 off the bat, and it's caught. The Dodgers would end up getting the win with a Mookie Betts RBI single, and that'll improve their standing to 1-6 against us on the year. A broken clock is right twice a day. A blind squirrel finds a nut. That's what it feels like to have the Dodgers finally beat us, because so far, we have owned them this year. They did out-hit us in this one 13-7, but we did draw 5 walks. The plate discipline has been really impressive team-wide, I feel like, this year. That's definitely something that I've focused on in roster construction, and I'm happy to see that's been the case. So we went 3-3 in this 6-game set against the Padres and Dodgers, but overall I feel really good, given those blowout wins against LA. And we're going to play this first game against the Marlins. Always good to be back in Miami. The Marlins franchise on MLB The Show 23 was not only one of my favorite baseball series on the channel, but really one of the most fun series, I would say, ever that we've had on this channel, largely because of the players from that series, including the back-to-back-to-back-to-back Cy Young winner, Edward Cabrera, who we will get to see on the mound today. Now, of course, these Marlins are not anywhere near as good as they were in the series, but Aaron Eldridge, the former top 3 pick just a couple of years ago, he's really turning into a superstar for them. Here's Cabrera, definitely not the player he was in our series, but he hasn't been too bad this year. 4.33 ERA, 1.49 whip. He's going to have to face off against the buzzsaw that has been the San Francisco lineup, coming off of multiple 14-run games within the last few days. Ian Happ hits this one to the warning track and left, but it is caught at the wall by Davis Schneider. That'll bring us to the bottom of the first. We'll take a look at Carson Wisenhunt, who, of course, got off to that terrific start. He has definitely come back down to earth in a major way. His ERA is now in the mid-3s, whip at 1.23. He just really has not been the same guy over his last 2 or 3 appearances. So hopefully he can rebound and pitch well today. Starting things off with Harrison Bader. This one is hit into center field for a single. Marlins franchise legend Harrison Bader. It's very easy to forget that we had him in that series for a year back in Season 2. Aaron Eldridge swings and misses at the fastball, the generational prospect, looking to make his first All-Star game this year. He's developed a little bit faster than Tommy Rogers has, who, of course, was in the class before. Danny Jansen with 2 away lines it into left. Runner will round third, looks to score. Really bad throw by Hackman, and because of that, we're not going to have a chance to throw out the runner. It's 1-0 with an RBI double by Danny Jansen. That'll bring you up another legend from that Marlins series, Jesus Sanchez. Keys behind 1-2, but he rips it into right field. And this ball is long gone. The cold streak for Carson Whisenhunt continues. And for Jesus Sanchez, that is his third home run of the year. Like Edward Cabrera, he certainly has not developed into the player here that he was in our series. But he makes a big play off of Whisenhunt and a quick start for the Fish. 3-0 in the throwback uniforms here in the bottom of the first inning. The Marlins getting right to work. That'll bring up Davis Schneider, one of many former Blue Jays on this roster, and he hits it well into left center field. Rogers can only watch it fly. That's a home run that would make Woody Landry and Isaac Stu feel proud. 4-0 lead, 430 feet for Davis Schneider. What is going on with Carson Whisenhunt? All the black magic that he had in April has completely evaporated. Talk about a Linsanity run. As the inning finally comes to an end with a Noelvi Marte ground out. But a big start for Miami. RBI double by Jansen. 2-run homer by Jesus Sanchez. And then back-to-back bombs with Davis Schneider sending one in the seats. Munetaka Murakami looks to get things rolling here in the second. Off of Cabrera's legs for the out. The last time we had a ball deflect off of a Marlins pitcher's legs in this stadium, well, that was Sandy Alcantara in Game 6 of the World Series, where he was pulled and then came out of the bullpen in Game 7, and, well, you all know what happened there. Cabrera, who started in that Game 7, is going to be a tough cookie. He'll stay in the game. As Blake Sabol goes down on the circle change, and Cabrera's looking quite good, looking like the Marlins franchise Edward Cabrera that we all knew and loved. Stone Garrett swinging a miss on the fastball. Cabrera looking good early. That'll bring us to the bottom of the frame. If Carson Whisenhunt doesn't get his act together, he's going to get pulled out of this game quick. Multiple pitchers already warming up in the bullpen, so it's a major relief to see him retire this side in the second. Looking a lot more like April Carson Whisenhunt as opposed to May Carson Whisenhunt that we saw in the first inning. J.P. Crawford gets plunked. Charge the mound. Charge them. I don't think he's going to charge the mound, but he will reach base. Finally, a base runner for the Giants as Johnny Hackman ignites this ball into left center. This one is crushed, and it's 4-2. San Francisco might be back in the game. Home run number 5 on the year for Johnny Hackman, going 462 feet. My goodness, a lawn drive for the former Michigan Wolverine. And so San Francisco cuts the lead in half, and it appears they are back in business. Big swing for Johnny Hackman. That'll bring up Brendan Donovan. He's brought the average up to 270, continuing to play well after a rough start to the year. And he singles into center. So Cabrera, who did not allow a base runner, I don't think, in those first 2 innings, is getting rocked early in the third. Tommy Rogers now. This one is grounded past the glove of the second baseman for a single. 3 consecutive hits, 4 consecutive base runners to start the inning for San Francisco. 2 on, nobody out for some of the best hitters in this lineup. And we'll start with Jung-Hoo Lee. He ignites this one into center. That ball is gone, and it's 5-4. The big lead that the Marlins took out of the first inning has evaporated quickly, and Jung-Hoo Lee puts it to bed. Just like that baseball, his 6th home run of the year, 430 feet. And Edward Cabrera has kind of lost control after such a great start to this one. That'll bring up Ian Happ now. Count sits at 3-2. He draws a walk. 6 consecutive base runners to start the inning aboard. It's like at this point, don't be that guy who ends up being the first out. We'll see if it's Munetaka Murakami, and he lines it well into left field. And this one is caught, so he is the first out of the inning, unfortunately. As Ian Happ will retreat back to first. Blake Sabol hits this ball well, a liner into right center. At the track, at the wall, it is gone! 2-run blast for Sabol. It is now 7-4. 3 home runs here in the third inning for the San Francisco offense. Blake Sabol at 12 on the year. He really has become one of this team's best power bats. And keep in mind, that's 12 home runs as a platoon bat. Now, obviously, he starts more games than not, but with Bailey starting against lefties, it's not like he's the regular catcher in a sense, as Edward Cabrera will be yanked out of the game. An unfortunate ending for him after he looked really good through the first 2 innings. And he'll be replaced by another familiar face from the Marlins series, Max Meyer. We had our good moments and our bad moments with Meyer in the franchise. I don't know if he ever won a World Series with us, as Stone Garrett hits this ball high and deep and to right. The Giants looking for another home run at the track. It's caught. Nice grab by Jesus Sanchez. J.P. Crawford now got him looking on the circle change. Crawford was the one who started the inning, and he's the one who ends it. San Francisco scores 7 with home runs for Hackman, Lee, and Sable. Bottom 3, Alejandro Kirk bloops a single into center. Rogers is fast, but he's not quite Usain Bolt. He can't get to that ball. 2 away now for Sanchez, 2-run homer in his first at-bat. This time he bloops it into left. Hackman is under it. He will make the play. And so it remains 7-4. After a rough first inning, Carson Whisenhunt has only let up 1 base runner over the last 2 innings. Maybe we are going to get a good game out of him, as that'll bring us into the 4th. Johnny Hackman homered in his last at-bat, gets things started, draws a walk, good at-bat. Hackman's plate skills for being a young guy continue to just really impress me. Draws walks, doesn't strike out that much. Tommy Rogers could use a thing or two from his game, as Brendan Donovan draws a walk. These Marlins pitchers are not finding the strike zone, and when they do, they have been very, very hittable balls. Here's Rogers, wild pitch. Both runners will advance as Hackman is safe at third. So now there's a pair of runners in scoring position. A base hit for Tommy Rogers would probably bring home both of them, as this one is grounded near short. Eldridge makes the play, but Rogers is so fast, there's no throw to first. So it's a single for Rogers. We get 1, and it's 8-4. 2 on, 2 away for Munetaka Murakami, one of the few quiet guys so far today, and he'll look to change that. And Oppo Taco blasts it into left, and it's 11-4. 3-run homer for Munetaka Murakami, amongst the National League leaders in home runs this year, is 15th of the campaign. And San Francisco, who was down big early, has now turned this into a blowout in their favor. So we are up by 7 and are in complete control at the moment. Let's see if we can get some more innings out of Carson Whisenhunt. He'll face off against Sal Stewart. This one is lined into right, and that one is going to get by Garrett. It'll make its way to the wall, and Stewart, in his first at-bat of the year, or I guess his first game of the year, his second at-bat, will result in a double. And the Marlins get a runner in scoring position for Kevin Biggio. Another former Blue Jay. They have like literally 4 at least in this lineup, as it's a liner to third. Ian Happ will make the play. A good inning for Carson Whisenhunt. I want to keep him in for a little while. I want to get him more reps because I feel like he could kind of use it. Up the middle, base hit here for Stone Garrett off of Kyle Muller, who came out of the bullpen late in the last inning after allowing the home run to Murakami. Johnny Hackman now. He's had a productive day at the plate. 2-2. Big swing and a miss on the 12-6 curve. Nice pitch there by Muller. Brendan Donovan now lines this one into the gap, and this one should go for extras. It should drive the run home as well. Garrett will look to score with ease. It's an RBI double for Brendan Donovan. He probably could have gotten to third there with a bad throw from Jesus Sanchez. And it's an 8-run lead. Tommy Rogers now, base hits in each of his last 2 at-bats. This one up the middle. His 3rd consecutive inning with a hit. Run scores again, and it is now 13-4 with another bad throw. He probably could have taken second if he wanted to. It is a 9-run game now as Jun-Hoo Lee pops it up into left. It is caught, and with this deficit being so big, we're going to go a little bit faster through the rest of this game because bearing a big comeback, this game will likely remain a blowout. As I said, I want to keep Whisenhunt in the game for a little while longer. He lets up a hit here to Harrison Bader, a chopper past the glove of J.P. Crawford. Aaron Eldridge now 1-2. Got him looking on the fastball. Quiet game for Eldridge as Whisenhunt punches out his 3rd. Alejandro Kirk swings at a pitch that he certainly should not have. A curveball in the dirt. And then Danny Jansen goes down looking. So 3 strikeouts in that frame for Carson Whisenhunt. With the pitch count starting to get higher, I think we will take him out here. And I think the plan is that Fernando Molina will pitch the rest of the way, bearing him not playing well. Here in the 6th, Stone Garrett pops it up into left. And for the first time since the 2nd, San Francisco does not add anything to the scoreboard. As I said, Molina's going to get an opportunity to work some extended innings, and as I've mentioned, he's a guy who I certainly want to look at as a starting pitcher, whether that's due to injury or just as a regular starter in the future. So seeing what he can do here in these 4 innings will give us a good baseline, as his 6th inning goes pretty well. Noelvi Marte goes down looking. We'll now travel bottom 7. Harrison Bader up with 1 away. Runner on third as this one is hit up the middle. Donovan diving play. Throw to first is not in time. Run scores anyway. And so it is now a 13-5 ball game off of the RBI single by Harrison Bader. That'll bring up Aaron Eldridge now, hitting from the left side of the plate here as it's a grounder to short. Should be 2, and it is 6-4-3 double play. Molina lets up 1, but luckily no further damage. Into the 8th, Munetaka Murakami against Andre Palante. This one is crushed into center. It will make its way over the batter's eye into the second deck. 14-5. Murakami's 16th home run of the year, his second of the ball game. It goes 446 feet. 3 of our last 4 games, we have now scored 14 runs. Bottom 9, same score. Runners on the corners, 1 away. 6-4-3 double play, and that'll do it. 4 innings of 1-run ball for Fernando Molina as the Marlins win it 14-5. For every game in the last week where we had scored 14 runs, if you were to give me a nickel, I would have 3 nickels. Not a lot of money. It's weird that it happened once, but impressive. It's even weirder that it happened twice. But it's really weird that it happened 3 times. Not much to say about the offense. Everybody hit the ball well. And then the Marlins got nothing going after the first inning, where they started off really well. And then only 1 run the rest of the way. So an impressive win here for our Giants, who have scored 47 runs over our last 4 games, 52 over the last 5. The offense is just on a complete heater. We're going to simulate the rest of the month. 3 more games against Miami, 3 at Milwaukee, 3 at home against the Rays, and then 3 at home against the Mets with no off days. Scott Rios has 3 starts in this stretch, facing off against Miami, Milwaukee, and the Mets. So I'm excited to see how he does. Here in this game against the Marlins, we trail. Anthony Bender coming in for the save. As they win their first matchup of a 4-game set. In this one, not much going offensively. Liover Peguero, home run in the 5th is really all we got. Carson Whisenhunt, another not-so-good start. He has had a rough month. We lost the last game against the Brewers as well. That brings us to this series against the Rays, who are having a really good year. Down by 2, bases loaded, 2 away. Stone Garrett flies it into right, and it is caught. Left him loaded. That is unfortunate. If there was one guy I would have wanted up there, it would have been Stone Garrett, but unfortunately he does not deliver. But we will get another chance here in the bottom of the 9th. 1 away, 2 runners on base, 2 pretty fast runners at that. Now there's 2 away. Rogers would advance to third. Jun-Hoo Lee down to his final strike against Kevin Kelly. Lines it into right. It is caught, and that is now a 3-game losing streak for the Giants, who have dropped 5 of their last 7 and 6 of their last 9. That is not nice. The team certainly seems to be coming back down to earth after a really good opening 40 or so games of the year. Good start by Zach Eflin. Dylan Lesko nearly let it get away from him. Hackman with 3 hits. DeZenzo had 2. Blake Sabol was productive, and really nobody else showed up. Another bad start for Logan Webb. His rough season continues. We would win the last 2 against the Rays, though, so our losing streak is over. And now here against the Mets, tied at 5, bottom 9. 2 runners on for Stone Garrett. It's hit well into left. At the track, it is gone! Walk-off home run for Stone Garrett, who was the king of walk-offs late in the season last year. A couple games ago against the Rays, he had a big at-bat where he couldn't come up clutch, but that's because he was saving it for this one here against the Metropolitans. An 8-5 win here with Stone Garrett being the walk-off hero once again. And after a 3-game losing streak, we are now on a 3-game winning streak. That was a pinch hit home run as well. Stone Garrett coming off the bench, delivering. Another 3-hit game for Johnny Hackman. Leody Taveras went deep. He scored twice. And then obviously Stone Garrett with the play at the end. Carson Whisenhunt got the start, and he did not make it out of the first inning. Yikes. His ERA was at like 1.6 coming into the day. Now it is at 4.6. That'll bring us to this next game against the Mets. We are winning 2-1 in the bottom of the 7th. Brendan Donovan is responsible for both of our runs. He's homered twice, and here he draws a walk. The Mets don't want to pitch to him. We end up winning this game 3-2. Camilo Duvall blew the save as Lawrence Butler gets an RBI double, but we would walk it off in the bottom of the 9th, avenging the blown save by Camilo Duvall. It was Johnny Hackman with a walk-off home run. Johnny Hackman is playing unbelievable baseball right now. Scott Rios got the start, 4 innings, 1 earned run. Another really good game from Scotty, but it comes with some bad news. Torn hamstring for Rios. He'll be out for a month or 2. Durability isn't great for him, but it's not necessarily a glaring issue. But this sucks. Through 6 games, he's been terrific. The one start of his we didn't talk about came in this game against the Brewers, 6 innings, 4 earned. So we're going to have to replace him on the roster, and we're going to make a double switch. Carson Whisenhunt has been as bad here in the month of May as he was good in April. He needs to work on his consistency and is going down to the minors. So the plan is Cole Irvin will be a long reliever, replacing Fernando Molina, who will be joining the starting rotation. And Peter Reed will be entering the rotation as well, a second rounder of ours just a season ago, having a pretty good season in AAA. I want to see what this kid is made of. I get that Cole Irvin is the more proven player, but I want to see what these 2 young guys are made of. Overall, though, not a bad month. We're 41-18. We had this 13-run game against the Brew Crew. Jung-Hoo Lee homered twice. Good start from Mason Miller, who's been one of our more consistent pitchers this year. And then 10-2 in this last game against the Mets. Johnny Hackman homered again. Ian Happ and Leody Taveras went deep. Good game from Tommy Rogers. And even Logan Webb pitched pretty well. So that'll wrap up the episode. Next time around, we're going to get through most of the month of June, looking to avenge all of these injuries that we've been accumulating. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.